Hey guys, I'm Pocket, and welcome. This is a series where we interview people in a quest to learn about jobs, hobbies, passions that we don't necessarily know about. And as a result, here are some cool stories too. And today we have Brendan on the show. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
And I mean, I only know like one or two things about you. I know about your YouTube channel,
Yeah.
your golf YouTube channel, which I checked out a bit, and I love how you I love how you're getting into the technical aspects of golf. That it just as a hardcore geek um, about a lot of very random subjects. I never thought that there was that much mastery within golf. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, golf more so than anything else. I think the fact that with every other sport that I can think of, really, it's a reaction immediately. Like basketball, you catch it and you shoot it. Football, like the ball's hiked and you have to get rid of it real quick. You always have somebody breathing down your neck, or there's that element. The weird thing about golf, kind of like the balance beam, is you initiate the action, right? So you're standing over and nothing happens until you make it happen. So that extra time for you to think about what you're going to do, like if the ball was rolling down the fairway at you and you had to hit it before, it got away from you, there would be no time to be thinking about these positions and stuff. And that's exactly what makes golf so different and also, I think, so hard. You would think
yeah.
uh, it's counterintuitive, but you would think like, okay, I have more time to think about it. That's going to make this an easier game. But when you're doing something physical with your body, your brain is really just it's just like this parachute that's like holding you back because you're just thinking about all these things. So really you have to, that's why a lot of times you see some of the best golfers just do it in kind of like this caveman style where they don't even think about it. They just athletically react. But for me, and that's kind of the basis of my channel, is every great golfer you've ever seen, almost, except for very, very few of them, learned from when they're really little. And so they could just naturally do it. Well, I didn't learn until I was like 22 or 23. And that's like 90% of golfers didn't learn until they were, older, that they got into it. And if you're what they call an adult learner in golf, it's just you try to tackle it in this kind of like mindful way, and it just makes it so much more difficult than somebody who learned when they were little.
That's interesting. I never thought of it as being like as every other. Well, I don't know if it's every other sport, but pretty much every other sport being completely reactionary. Well, this
Mm-hmm.
is oh man, and it's funny because that's kind of I like to go on the reactionary type of style on most things. So
Yeah.
golf,
Uh-huh.
that's like another reason why I am not so familiar with golf. But I, I guess do the pros, do they end up kind of, I guess, running up to the tee and then as in if they're training and trying
Right.
to like not have all that extra stuff in their head from just sitting there and overthinking things, do people just like run up and then take a swing? Or
Well, the way that they get over it, it's
like
it's a lot like the two things in sports I think that are the most similar in that way would be golf. To golf would be the only thing that's real similar to golf would be, I would say, a pitcher in baseball, because the pitcher in baseball, nothing happens until you decide, okay, I'm set and I'm gonna go. So golfers and pitchers do almost exactly the same thing, where instead of like just blazing through it and just trying to be like, okay, I'm up to the ball, I'm going to whack it before I can even think about it.
right,
Instead of doing that, because that's not really possible, they get super deep into their routines. So you can see kind of with a pitcher, they do the same kind of this circular motion. So you'll see like Clayton Kershaw or somebody, every single time he has his hands over his head like this, and he scratches his ear a certain way, and it can become very superstitious in both the things. So they kind of have this set list. For example, like for years and years, I've had the same routine when I go to hit a ball. So I spell out the word trust. So on T, I look at the ball. On R, I look out at the target. On U, I look back at the ball. On S, I breathe in and out. And on the last T, I hit it. So that's like, as the totally in the weeds for like what a golfer does, but yeah. So in order to combat that, all those things going through your head about, I should hold my arm this way or I should do this or do that, you kind of have to replace it with some other like conscious thoughts, and to kind of block that out.
And it seems like a lot of conscious thought. I mean,
Oh yeah.
is it something that, like looking back and forth at the ball, does that actually help your swing, or is that
Well,
more
it
part
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't help your swing, but they've shown in studies and other things too that just not only golf, but I think in every part of your life, from your love life to your finances to getting involved in sports, just how important visualization is, right?
right?
So even like my YouTube channel or whatever, you really have to visualize. Okay, I'm visualizing 10,000 subscribers, or I'm visualizing, and then you kind of reverse engineer how it's going to work, right? So like in golf, it's the same way. I'm visualizing this great shot, and then you're kind of playing it in reverse in your head. Okay, what are the steps, from 100 back to zero that are going to be the things, and all of that's mostly completely in your subconscious, but yeah, it's just that looking out and all these different things are just to reinforce better visualization.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I guess, within the beginning of this interview, I'd love to hear a little bit more about yourself. Um, so I guess a little bit about your background. I guess, I mean, we can start by asking one of these random questions like, how would your best friend describe you, or a little bit
Oh,
about where you grew up?
I grew up in Philadelphia. I went to in it's kind of how the two different worlds came together. But when I went to college, I was a film major in college at Temple in Philadelphia, and so I went there, and then I moved to LA right after I graduated to be involved in the film and TV business. And then when I moved out to LA, I had no leads, I had nothing at all, and so I had no idea how I would. You know what? Like, it's a very typical LA story, but basically,
Yeah.
like, when I came out for 2 weeks to see if I would like it out here, like for those like friends of friends, like let me stay on a couch for a little bit, and then I ended up meeting up with some random guy. It was some guy that had produced. I somehow got a meeting with some guy that had years ago produced Glengarry Glen Ross. This is in 2002 when I first was out here.
Wow.
Anyway, so this producer met with me, and he was like, you know, saying all this great stuff. I was so excited. And he was like, "Yeah, I used to work at CAA, the talent agency. Yeah, when you do move out here, he's like, I don't know if $800 a week is enough for you, but when you do move out here, like I can get you a job in the mailroom at CAA." He was like, "It's no problem at all." And so I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be amazing." I
Right.
tell everybody I got this job lined up, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like a mover and shaker. So anyway, I came out here, and the guy does not answer my phone calls at all. Like when I really moved out here, so there's nothing, there's
It,
no job for me, there's no connections, there's nothing.
it's
So I was out here, and then so spent like so about the first year I was in LA, had a very very little going on, and had to. I was living in someone's living room. Like there was a whatever, like a sleeping bag in the closet that I would pull out at night, and then I would sleep on the floor of the living room.
People don't understand how hard it is to just get by.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially like when you have no contacts. Like everybody says it's who you know, and when you're starting. And the funny thing is, I had this is off topic, but so of all these things that were going on when I was trying to get a job out here, I got a phone interview with this somehow, wheeled and dealed, and I was waiting for weeks and weeks, and I finally got a phone interview with this woman. I forget her name. Anyway, she was the president of the Disney Channel, so I was like, all right, cool. So I was gonna like pick her brain, and I was like, whatever.
That's something.
So I got this phone interview with her, and I'm talking to her for a while, and it's going okay. And she was like, at the end of the call, she was like, "Well, is there anything else you wanted to ask me or whatever?" It's going fine. And I was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "I just wanted to know, are there any are there any opportunities over there at Disney Channel as far as like writers assistants or production assistants? And she's like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, I'm willing, what every kid says. It's like, I'm willing to do anything.
Right, right.
She's like, well, you have to be more specific. And I was like, and she started getting like snarky. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you have to be more specific. You don't even know what you want. And I was like, yeah, I know what I want. I want to be a director. And she's like, oh, yeah, of course. So I'm like, oh, this is not going well all of a sudden. So I was like, no, I was just wondering if there's anything over there, like a position that I could fill over there, like just kind of get to know stuff, even like an internship basis. She was like, and then all of a sudden she says, excuse me, I thought this was an informational call. No, I didn't expect you just to call me and say, you got a job for me? And she was like,
that's intense.
She was like angry.
Right. I've been in situations like that where I mean, I'm not necessarily a jack of all trades. I'm more of the master of none. But whatever. I have a couple things I can do. But I've been networking and at times where I've been looking for a job and I bump into someone with like a really cool company and they're like, so what do you do? And I'm like, that's a fantastic question.
Yeah, right.
And when you can't hone in on the exact thing that they want, if you can't deliver what they want, even though you could fill more than one role by that company, you're ending up with no job. So
it's funny because I think the different things you say to people, like how you introduce yourself, like everybody says, well, what do you do? What do you do? Yeah. So I think Adam Carolla says if somebody describes what they're doing by saying right now first, they're not where they want to be in their life. So, right now I'm like in customer service at Taco Bell, or right now I'm, even somebody might say like they'll have a job that you would think is like a great job. They're like, oh, right now I'm talent manager for Warner Brothers, but what I want to do is so I make a conscious effort no matter when I introduce myself. I don't ever say like, oh, right now I'm doing this or that.
That's
so
awesome.
Anyway, so I was going through and I had all this time because I had no leads and I had nothing going on, getting going with my film career at all.
Yeah.
So I was living in Arcadia in California, and which may have been a bad idea too, because it was so far. It was the only place I knew of someone that would let me sleep in their living room, so that's why I was there. But it was very far away from the biz.
Yeah.
Anyway, so right. So I was living in Arcadia and I had nothing going on. So I started killing time over the golf course that was near the house.
Oh wow.
And I had no money at all. And so I didn't even have money to actually play golf or hit balls. So I would just putt at the golf course and I'd have my phone with me and hope that one of these jobs I had applied for or things would ring my phone, which almost never happened. So I would just be putting constantly.
1 second.
Yeah.
I want to do this right after this.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back. And we're back. Right. So where were we? You were putting at the golf course without money to actually
right.
golf.
Yeah. So there's no thought of golf in my mind at all at this point. And but it was just like a way to kill time, and it was something free to do. And then my brother, who's a huge golfer, and he's golfed since he was 8, and I had never golfed really. And
what were you doing by the course then?
What's that?
So what were you doing by the course then, if you didn't?
Oh yeah, it was just something to do. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So my brother, he sent me $100 when for I don't know, a birthday present or something. It was like an exorbitant gift, because he'd never really given me a gift. But he was like, I'm giving you this money, but you're only allowed to spend it on golf. And it was probably the best investment. He's 8 years older than me. It was probably the best investment he could have ever made, because I took that $100 and I was very legitimate about it. I actually did spend it on golf. I played a couple of rounds of golf and hit some balls with that money. And ever since then, been completely hooked on it. And like I said, I was 22 or 23 at the time when I first started doing it. And you kind of bring that analytical brain of an adult into a game that really is probably best played by just a kid.
Oh,
I was able to get pretty good at it in a pretty short amount of time because I took my skills as like a video person and I made a series of commercials for like a place that taught golf lessons. And in return for the commercials that I made for them, they let me practice at their facility and they gave me free lessons. So, and because I didn't have too much other stuff going on business wise, I was able to practice like a ton at that point in my life.
and you had something to do during the days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then things picked up business wise, and then I started getting more into like production of television stuff, and I was working as a PA for game shows, and I was doing some other stuff like that. And then I got just less golf and more just like business wise. And then actually I got hired by a billionaire to make a reality show of their life, which
Really?
that was put onto YouTube. Yeah, they were a host. They were the
What was
host
that
of
like?
a website. It was really cool. I mean, it was actually really neat. And they were like the host of this website, and also the guy wanted to be famous. So like we were like working on things that would make his life look real interesting or whatever. So I went to the Hamptons a couple summers with him, and he lived in this like insanely huge house in Beverly Hills that I used to shoot at all the time with him. And I did that for 5 years, like almost totally full time. I had some other stuff
Wow.
going on as well, but that was like doing that for I did that for like 5 years after I first started PAing and everything and editing and some other stuff.
Was there something that
And
you learned from that?
uh, yeah, I would say the one big lesson from that. I mean, I learned a lot of positive things. I mean, as far as just shooting thousands of hours of footage and then also editing tons of stuff and also trying to. We had a YouTube channel for him that was pretty popular. We did some really cool interviews. We interviewed one guy that we interviewed was this guy Frank Mundus, who was the inspiration for Quint from the movie Jaws. Like he was like the original shark hunter that movie was made about, and so that one got real popular, and some other things happened. So that was really good. But the only negative about it was that since I was working for that one a person slash company for so long, it kind of like put my regular career on hold, just because like when you work especially in the TV business or whatever, when you work for one person and you say yes to that one person, then you're taking your time to do that, and then like you're saying no to other people. So then like you're by the time you're done with the one person you've been working with, a lot of your connections have dried up, and also
Right.
like you haven't really. So because that wasn't like a traditional media company, there was no like real,
Launching there.
yeah, there was no real acceleration to be like, okay, producer, associate producer, supervisor, like none of that. You were just kind of on your, doing your own thing. And I
Right.
wouldn't change it. I mean, I would do it again, but
Right.
you
Like a
definitely have to
mixture
think about that when you take a big job that like,
right.
not
It's very
stuck though.
interesting. A mixture of opportunity cost and your all your leads
Yeah.
drying up. I mean, I guess
Mm.
you're in one spot. You probably didn't have access to many other, people in the industry.
And then industry wise, and so then when that ended, when that guy, for like personal reasons, he ended the channel and everything,
Sure.
and he moved away for a little while, and then he came back, and then he moved away again. Anyway, so when that ended, and then I was like kind of starting over again because I was like 5 years doing that,
Yeah.
and it was real lucrative, and it was a lot of fun and everything. But when that ended, it was kind of like starting over again. So now I'm back on like Craigslist looking for jobs and stuff like that. And I happened to find a job working for an ESPN documentary doing like assistant editing that was just supposed to be for like a week, and it ended up being for like 2 months. And then I got involved in like the sports world of like media. So I was editing for this ESPN documentary, and then that led to some other sports things. And then ever since then, which has been about 4 years now since then,
Oh wow.
I've only been doing sports. So so now currently I work for the Lakers and the Dodgers channel as a producer editor for Backstage Lakers, Backstage Dodgers, Backstage Galaxy, all the kind of like 24/7 style reality documentary shows like with like real great access to the players. So that's what I do now.
Oh, it's funny
Mhm.
how it sounds like a really cool job, and I didn't even know that.
Yeah, 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 and works out well for golf and for my YouTube channel because basically like I have this super intense passion for golf, right? And then
Yeah,
I have these very honed professional skills as an editor and as a kind of a person who like puts stories together.
yeah,
So I can put those together into my YouTube channel. So I started the Be Better Golf YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Be Better Golf Show.
yeah.
So I started that right just about 6 or 7, yeah, about 6 months ago. And really, honestly, when I first started it, and everybody in YouTube tells you this, it's the worst way to start a channel. But I first started it to make extra money. And, and everybody says, "Oh, worry about the content first.
Yeah.
If it's good, and if you worry about the content long enough, then the money will come." And I kind of like did the opposite of that, which is supposed to end in horrible failure. I was just like, "Oh, I have another kid coming, and my wife is working like a lot less, to watch the kids." And so I was like, I need to like find some more money.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I know I've always had this idea to do, to highlight different, because you meet so many weird and interesting people on the golf course. So I was like, always wanted to do this show that like highlighted, all about golf and highlighted unique and interesting voices in golf. So I started doing that. And if anybody's interested in starting a YouTube channel, I think it's a kind of a great formula to do it this way if you can convince people. So basically what I did is I sent out pitches to a few different people that already had big YouTube channels about golf. And I asked them for interviews. And then so I got an interview with a great guy, Monty Scheinblum, who's in Irvine, that is a really well-respected teacher. At the time, he had like 4,200 subscribers or something to his YouTube page.
Right.
And so I went down and I took my camera down there and I shot like a 2-hour interview with him. And that was the first thing that I did on the channel. And then that got cut up into like 5 different videos. And then I went on to various forums. So, and then I posted, hey, I interviewed this guy that you're always talking about. Would you like to see it? And those videos got like tens of thousands of views. And it was it was a great way to introduce myself, because that's the thing you have to realize when you're starting a YouTube channel, that, like that nobody knows you, like you're a complete random to everyone. And especially those first couple times that you're putting yourself out there, when you're new to people, they're going to like troll you like hard, And so
I'm curious the ways you got trolled.
Oh yeah, well the first way definitely was when I did this interview with him. So my hair was a little longer, and it had started raining like during the interview, but it was this like misty rain. You couldn't even really tell that it was raining, and I was so amped to have this opportunity to do this interview, I didn't stop it for the rain or try to move it or anything.
Right.
And so my hair was a little longer, and half my hair went this way, and then the other half went that way. So it was hair like this, and then forehead, and then hair like that. Anyway, so everyone on this forum that I put up there, and everyone on YouTube, a lot of people. I mean, I'm not even just like exaggerating. A lot of people were like, "Who's this horrible guy with a comb over that's interviewing Monty?" He was like,
Yeah.
So nothing was about my interview style. I mean, not much of it was about my interview style. Not much of it was about golf. A lot of it was about like my looks, or not even my looks, my look, like
YouTube
they're like, and everybody was saying,
funny.
no, he's trying to do this or that. Like it was very funny. So, and then a lot of people thought that I interrupted too much, and I got that a ton, especially in my first few.
Yeah.
But then once people started to get to know me and more, and started to be more recognizable to people, at least the hardcore watchers in my channel.
Sure.
I hear a lot less of that. But I do get trollish comments when somebody new is on my channel. Like if I have a friend of mine that's like brand new to the channel, I'm like, oh, this is my friend so-and-so, like, he's going to play with us today. And if he tries to make a joke or tries to be funny or do anything out of the box, like during the channel, he'll get trolled real bad.
I'm
So
really looking forward to being trolled on by your fans, by the way.
I don't think I will because it's on your channel, so
Oh,
you will be trolled, especially in your first 500 subscribers, very badly. But
yeah,
then the people will get to know you, and then they'll troll your guests more than anything, probably. So,
yeah, that's all.
so my basic framework for anybody who wants to has a passion,
Yeah, I'm
you know,
interested in this.
not golf, but anything. Say you have a passion, whatever it is, say like needlepoint. So you go to the people that are already in that space and known that aren't randoms, you know, and and you basically try to leverage their level of being known and their subscribers. So you go and interview people, and then once you've interviewed people enough, people will get to know you, and once people get to know you, then they'll be more interested in seeing things that you're doing, like then you can, if you're doing needlepoint, then you can start to introduce your own little vlogs about little needlepoint projects that you're doing. Or you can, like in my case, I was interviewing these amazing golf experts and everything like that, and people were liking the interviews. And then I got a lot more into my own vlogs where I vlog my journey to try to be better.
Right.
And once you get into that realm of it, I've noticed, and what's interesting is that I get a lot more reactions and also a lot more views and everything when I'm extremely frustrated and playing really poorly. A lot more so than like if I go out and have a very good round. That's kind of like vanilla, whatever. Plus, like people see that on Golf Channel, or they see people on traditional TV in any passion that you're talking about, like being amazing and perfect all the time. Like YouTube is a lot better for people's faults and
Being
a legitimate interaction of like, oh, this didn't go well. So those are that's like I think a great blueprint is basically like do interviews, and then that introduces yourself to people, and then just be like, once you get to that point where people are interested enough to see you kind of vlogging your own deal within that passion, it really helps a lot to just talk to people like real personally, and like kind of expose yourself in a certain way that's like kind of shows your faults and things like that, like that goes over well. And then after that, I'm not really sure at that point. So,
and
but I'm trying to learn.
you mentioned it was kind of you came at it at the angle of trying to make money. I mean, it's a weird thing to ask. I mean, have you started making money from that?
Yeah, yeah. So
That's like the
it's
worst thing
like
to ask about
no,
YouTube.
it's fine. It's like I don't care. And like everybody's so nervous about it. Like it's it's not in the contract or anything that you can't say like that you make money, or you can't say
Yeah,
how much money you make. It's like it's
yeah.
fine.
And
No, so yeah, so I started making. So my first month that I was doing it, and I had these interviews. I started making like, because like just the first month just had represented like the first little part of the interview, and that had like because before I've had a YouTube channel for years, but it was just like family stuff and like once in a blue moon I put some random like thoughts about golf up, but it was nothing like set. And then I
yeah,
changed the YouTube like 6 months ago. I changed the YouTube channel from just Brendan Devore to Be Better Golf Show,
I was gonna say
and
I
then
looked and I think I saw like random videos that don't.
yeah,
Might have
yeah,
not deleted some videos that are
no,
totally
just
outrageous.
leave them there.
Yeah,
And so then when I switched, so back then, like it used to get about per month, like before I started the Be Better Golf Show, it used to get about like $12 or something per month. Then when I started the Be Better Golf Show, my goal was like, okay, let me try to get this to be like $200 a month,
right.
like within like a year. That'll be cool. It's like I'm playing golf anyway. Like I enjoy doing these interviews. Like an extra $200 a month would be really cool. And then but it only took like a month or a month and a half to get to
Seriously,
$200. Yeah,
seriously.
and so that was cool. AdSense wise, and
Yeah.
then and then from there, like when at the height of the golf season, like I doubled that and then I tripled that. But then now that golf season's over, it's a lot less. It's like down in the 200 and somethings. And then
Oh,
it'll probably I think around the time of the Masters, which is in April. I think that's really when my season will start. So I'm kind of doing a backlog of things now, and I'm really not so much as like when I first started, I was like in this like mania to like make money off of YouTube, and now I'm a lot less. I'm seeing the benefits a lot more, and kind of like you were talking about opportunity costs. Like
Yeah.
this is like an opportunity benefit for me as far as like getting to. I'm not making as much money as like you know, definitely it's not like you know, paying any bills or anything.
Right.
But I'm getting a lot of like great interaction with people that like wouldn't be available to me unless I was like, you know, this like
Right.
minor YouTube host and stuff.
The as opposed to like the opportunity cost was one of the things, but the other side of it was your context drying up. So you're having the context kind of come in now.
Yeah, where now I'm trying to see I'm seeing the now the money thing's not as important to me, and I'm really like a lot more focused on the content like I should have been, like when I started, or well, like people recommend when I started. But so now I'm just like kind of uh, gearing myself up for like when the golf season starts again, and just really trying to think about how I can, because it would just be a lot of fun more than anything to like have a big. See, the thing is like the threshold for like a YouTube golf channel
Yeah.
is not like for like a normal YouTube channel. Let's say you have like you're doing like prank videos, or you're doing like or like
I mean,
you
is
know,
there such
something
thing
that's
as
like comedy or something that's appealing to everyone. You know, it's
okay,
not like a small niche.
true,
Like you would
true.
want like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Like the
Yeah.
biggest YouTube golf channel in the world has like 170,000 subscribers.
Really?
So right, so me
But
like right now I have 6,500 subscribers. So even though to most YouTubers that would seem like infinitesimally small,
yeah.
like in the golf space, that actually can command a lot of attention from even like some big companies can start to even pay attention to
That,
somebody, you know, with just, you know, a few thousand subscribers just because
that's a little surprising. Yeah. I mean, is it
yeah,
just an older demographic?
it is like, you know, when I look into my analytics of it, like I can see that most people that are watching are there's a lot of kids that as far as like interaction, I do talk to a lot of young kids, but as far as like the demographics of people like actually watching, it's like my age all the way to like people in their 70s and 80s.
Wow.
So it's a lot of and it's very like male heavy. So it's guys from my age going all the way up. And the number one comment I always see on my channel, and this is probably like a great compliment, and also why like I've had like some limited success so far.
Sure.
The number one comment I have is, "I have that same problem," or "You remind me so much of myself when you know like the problems I have," or "We're on the same kind of journey." Like all these different things are the relatableness of it is because somebody was arguing with me the other day about content on my channel, somebody online. It was like somebody had like some legitimate constructive criticism, and then it turned into like an all out like trollish kind of situation.
YouTube
And
comments.
yeah, so what I replied to them was I was like, I'm not an expert in golf. I'm not like a famous teacher.
Sure.
I'm not a great player. You know, I'm okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
but I'm not good enough to make money playing. I'm not good enough to make, you know, I don't know enough to make money teaching. The only thing that I have that's interesting to people is my willingness and ability to be completely honest about my game. And
It's very relatable.
right. So most people they'll only put up when if they have a golf channel, they'll only put up when they're playing really well or
Right.
when they're doing really. And so that's what I would anybody that's interested in getting involved in not only a YouTube channel but anything where they're like kind of you know podcasting or doing anything where they're showing themselves to people would definitely don't try to build yourself up as this like amazing expert or this perfect person. People aren't interested in that like anymore.
Yeah.
It's they want to be just see themselves.
Um, let's head back right after this and see about possibly those uh the common issues that you've come up and addressed in YouTube videos, and possibly a little bit more about you. I had one of those. What was whatever the question is. We'll be back right after this, and we're back. Yeah, what we left off on was I was going to address the most common issues that you find that you've addressed on your YouTube channel that people have kind of come to you and said that it was really kind of resourceful to find your channel? Because that's what I find on YouTube. Uh,
Hmm.
like I'll find people approaching very basic things that I just didn't feel like asking because it's kind of embarrassing. So
YouTube, yeah, is definitely the best search engine ever created for how-tos and for instructional kind of things. You know, even when I'm just looking for like something was wrong with my sink or my dishwasher, like you look up stuff like that on YouTube, and it's the same way with golf. So like I get a lot of people that like are going to be playing golf the next day, and they're hoping for some kind of magical tip or something that's going to just, because golf's weird. Like sometimes you can actually get a little tip. It'll only work for like one round or two rounds, but one little thought could get you into this like mind space that gets you playing amazing golf. And the same thing can happen the other way. One little thought, somebody might say, "Oh, why don't you try to, put your grip, on more on top or something." So this the same thought for one person that was so beneficial for
just
somebody else can be like a nuclear bomb to their golf game. Can just like, they could be playing horrible for a month and a half because of the effects of a tip. The power of that idea.
so what could be one of the things that actually helps? You said one if you gave them just a small tip, it could help their game for like one or two swings, but then
Mm-hmm.
not much more
So
than that.
the actual technical side of that, of on my channel, kind of the big um, this is like real like golfish.
Sure.
Golfers will understand it, but anyway, in the golf swing, there's a big debate about this thing called lag, and lag for years and years was the end all be all of people that were trying to get better at golf. So that's my channel, is Be Better Golf, and I too was completely obsessed with this idea of lag. Lag is basically like if this is the club and it's coming into the ball, and
Sure.
and this is your hands. So what you would do is you would see old pictures of guys like Ben Hogan and other guys that are dragging the club towards the ball, and there's this insane angle coming down that's created like here. That's like it's retaining this angle for really, really long, and then at the very last second, that whole angle gets released, and the lag is released at the very last second, and that's what creates all the speed and what makes great golfers great. That was the idea for a long, long
Okay.
time. So forever I was swinging, I was kind of pulling on the handle like this, trying to get deep into my swing before that lag went through. And when I did my first interview with Monty Scheinblum is when my golf game really changed, because now, and this is the tip that people really benefit from,
Sure.
is that now no longer am I trying to pull this handle so hard and then let it go through. I'm trying to feel like I'm dumping everything out before I get to the ball. I'm throwing it from the top, almost as if like you're throwing like you're casting a fishing reel, which is they always, so basically like I've baked in for golfing for 8 years, because I've been whatever, I'm like 35 now.
Sure.
For golfing for almost for 10 years or whatever it was, going like this, yanking the handle and trying to hold it, that I did that for so long that it's so baked into my swing, and it probably always will be, that no matter how hard I try to dump out the shaft,
Yeah.
it will never get there.
Oh,
It
really?
will always lag itself. And actually, and that's the counterintuitive thing about golf, is when I try to throw the shaft out as hard as I want, I actually end up holding the angles much longer. If I try to hold the angles, what'll happen is it'll all get dumped out. And the reasons for that are a few. Mostly because you're right. When you try to hold the angles, you swing with your body, and then your right arm gets left behind. And then you run out of what they call, like, you run out of hip or you run out of rotation, and then everything dumps through, and
Oh,
that's the dumping. And so when you try to drag the handle, you end up dumping. And when you try to throw it out, you actually end up speeding up your right hand, which throws it through much quicker, and you actually end up retaining more lag. So super super detailed. If anybody's interested in first getting involved in golf, like
Yeah.
it's not necessary to know, but you
I tried
probably
to
will need
what
it
didn't
eventually.
go over my head in there, but
Yeah.
I'm
So,
just
so that's the main whole point, technically, of my channel is I'm trying to get people away from this idea that they have to yank the handle and wait till the last second to hit it. They can be a lot more um, intuitive about, if you gave a club to a little kid, they're going to try to throw it, and it's okay to try to just throw the club.
right, right. I guess at
Mhm.
that point, you're saying is it's doing more harm than good. Practicing a technique that's not really working out for you.
Yeah, basically, like that whole thing came from like still photos, like people seeing still photos of golfers, and they see this amazing angle, and then you're trying to recreate something that is 2D. You're trying to in 3D recreate something that's in 2D, and that's a freeze frame,
Oh,
and it's a reaction, and it's not something that you can force. Like, oh, I want that angle that I saw in this freeze frame, so I'm going to try to go to that position and then whip it through.
that's
It's
interesting.
just not
It's
how
analyzing.
you get there.
It's almost like analyzing the before as opposed to the after.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not, yeah. So I guess are there a couple other like really easy tricks that people seem to forget, or do you want to try something else, or
The other huge thing so I think the number one killer for people golf wise that hurts more golfers than anything is your ball position is basically always like kind of like here, like where if there's a logo on your shirt,
sure.
you put the ball down on the ground, kind of level with this logo that would be on your shirt, right? So as you swing back, the thing that kills people is if they go ahead of where the ball. So if the ball is here at your logo, and on the way down you've moved over here a little bit, and then you go to hit the ball, that'll just destroy anyone's swing. And it's a
Really?
problem that yeah, definitely. And it's a problem that I'm dealing with actually too myself, because when the other crucial thing with golf that I had for years and years tried to get into and try to have was you see these still images of players at impact, right?
Sure.
And so the right as the ball's hitting the club's hitting the ball, the club is leaning forward and it's even like flexed like so, right?
Right.
So you're like, oh, I want that. I want that leaning forward shaft that just looks like a pro.
You're once again analyzing the photographs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. So in my quest to try to get this leaning forward shaft, I mean, what would you do? You would lean this way, and you would pull the shaft. You would pull down the shaft, and you would lean
I don't
this
know
way.
how you said it's bent still, and the getting that
You're right.
right. I don't know. I mean, I'm not
So
sure.
so you would just lean over here. I would lean over there, and I would try to get this forward leaning shaft.
Right.
But the golf swing is on this circle, right? And when you move your head here, your whole circle gets moved, and it makes it when you're moving your head, which is like kind of the center of your. Imagine like you're taking your car wheel and you're just moving the axle forward and back. Like you wouldn't be able to steer it. You wouldn't be able to do anything if the axle was just moving away from the road all the time. It would always. So the same thing, like you're taking this and you're moving it over here, and
Oh,
it makes any kind of chance of hitting the ball where you want it to go super
so
difficult.
it really needs to
So
be kind of, I guess, in one specific place, if that's true.
mhm.
Yeah.
You have to. It's such a difficult move to make. You almost have to be kind of like a gymnast, because your head and your center has to stay very much in the same place, but then your body has to do a very violent contortion to get away from the ball and back again.
And send a
So
lot of force.
yeah. So the club's going over 100 miles an hour, and your hands are going dozens and dozens of miles an hour, but your head should be going 0 miles an hour. So it's a weird mix of keeping certain parts of your body very still and keeping other parts of your body very fluid, and that's only the one part of the game. That's the thing that's very difficult about golf, is the full swing is only the one part of the game. There's also
Sure.
chipping and putting, which are crucially important if you want to score. So that's what I'm trying to get into now. Is more into is a little less technical, and a little bit more into scoring. In about the same time that the Masters comes up is also when the amateur golf season starts around here. So I'm going to be entering tournaments and stuff, and
Cool.
really trying to get, because for years I've entered these amateur tournaments around here. There's one in particular, this thing called the Long Beach Match Play,
Okay.
and I've always had this desire to qualify for it. And whenever I've played when I've played in it, I've never qualified. I've done it I've gone out for 3 times. So that's my first immediate goal would be to qualify for this tournament. And in this tournament, you're playing against a lot of really good players from the area, and a lot of mostly college kids too that you're going against, who are doing nothing but playing golf all the time. But it's definitely possible. It's definitely doable.
Yeah.
So I
Have you
that's an immediate goal
have
I'd
you
like to do.
improved enough that you think that you'll get to that, or
Well, I hope I improve enough by May, which is when it
okay,
is. The thing is, I shoot scores that are good enough to qualify, but doing it in a tournament setting is a little different. And I also shoot a lot of scores that would miss the mark by a mile.
gotcha.
So the thing that is holding me back in my golf game, which is similar to what's holding a lot of golfers back, is that 90% of my shots, well, I'd say even 97% of my shots are either good or good enough or okay. And I can deal with any one of those three. I can recover from even a bad shot. I can recover from an okay shot, is fine, and a good shot is great. Maybe I'll get a birdie or something better. But that the 3% of the time I'm hitting an awful, awful shot that you just cannot do if you want to play in tournament golf where you count every stroke.
It's really that small, 3%. That's weighing you down.
Oh yeah. So if there's 72 strokes in an even par round of golf,
Sure.
and you're talking about 3%, so you're talking about 2 strokes. So then that's about right, because about 2 times around I'll have a shot that is so bad that there's no recovering from it, and it just leads to a 2 over par score, or a double bogey,
Got
or maybe even worse. So, and if you want to be in these scratch amateur events, scratch meaning that there's no help, that you're just playing for your score only, there's no handicapping. If you want to be in these events and you have 2 of those mistakes around, now that's all the college kids and everyone else is going to be shooting around even par. So now you've made those 2 mistakes, and now you're 4 over par from those 2 mistakes, and you're missing the cut after 2 rounds by 8 strokes.
Oh, wow.
So I think I'm actually on very, very close to figuring out why eliminating those kind of random, really bad shots. I think it's a mix of, I think it's a fitness issue, first of all. I'm actually extremely flexible, but I'm kind of weak fitness wise.
Gotcha.
And I think that makes me take kind of different lengths of backswings. Every once in a while I went a lot further than I thought I did. So there's kind of a communication issue. But then also I think there's technically something in my swing that it's technical, but basically I think my backswing is putting me in a position to have to make a lot of fixes on the way down. And I think I'm changing my backswing a little bit now. And I think if I get my fitness kind of sorted, my backswing sorted, and then also just playing a lot more, I think I'm going to be real close. Last year when I played in the event, I missed it by, I missed the cut by 6 strokes.
I was gonna say this would be 5.
Yeah, something like that. So I missed it by 6 strokes. So I shot something I shot 80-80, and I would have had to shoot 76-77 or something to get in. Anyway, so it's pretty close to being able to do it. So it would just be I mean, eventually, I would love to wake up and be able to really play well and do some of these national events and stuff. And
I mean,
a lot of these experts that I'm talking to say it's possible, say that that I could do it, but
it sounds
one step at a time.
If you're nonstop, reviewing people who are better than you, I can only see you getting better. But obviously, there's diminishing. I guess it's time will tell.
Mm-hmm. That was the first question that I asked on my channel, which is kind of the impetus of starting my channel. Was I asked the guy that there was this study done by the USGA, the United States Golf Association,
Sure.
that showed that after people had been golfing for 3 years, they didn't get any better. Like golfers
Really?
just stayed the same
That's
after three
interesting.
years. Like basically, like you've reached your level of potential after 3 years. Like you just like,
And is it
and
that or
I
is
could kind of see that in my game. I had been playing for 3 years, and I had gotten good very fast, but I hadn't gone from good to very good. I'd only very slowly caught up. So that's the question. With that, the whole premise of my channel is, can someone be better? My channel is really for, like the way we've been talking. My channel is very technical. It's very much for like people who've been golfing for a long time that are like stuck in a plateau, and they don't want to quit, and they want to start having more fun. So just like I'm trying to find these ways to really break these plateaus, and I think the whole thing that's going to do it for people is kind of like, and that's kind of like why I'm doing the channel, is that I'm trying to take my problems in golf and basically crowdsource them out to YouTube and Twitter and some other places. And
yeah.
if I see like if I see the hundreds of comments about my swing, and one or two of them is about some issue, and three or four of them about some other issue. But if the wisdom of the crowds kind of thing is applied to my own golf swing, and I can see that, okay, like 65% of the people are saying that I'm doing this certain thing wrong, then that's really something that I should look at. Even if none of those people that are commenting are experts,
Yeah. It,
there's something to it. If they're all picking that out, you really should look at that.
it depends.
So,
I mean, once again, with
yeah,
YouTube, I mean,
yeah.
how many like sometimes there'll be 50 comments about your hair and it's not something to slay into. I feel like other platforms would be better for critique than
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
I guess could we be back in a couple minutes with one last question?
yeah.
Awesome. We're back. And the question I would like to ask, I've asked everyone this so far, and it's just a fantastic question. I don't know. It's just what is the biggest struggle you're going through right now? Not my
The biggest struggle I'm going through right now is just time. Well, I would say it's a couple things, but probably time management
time
is
management.
like, you can always make, or you can at least try to make more money. You can try to get yourself healthier, even. You can try some other things, but you're never going to be able to make any extra time in a day. It's all the same. So anyway, so I have my full-time job,
Yeah.
and I have this is like like a bitch fest right now, but I have my full-time job. I have my YouTube channel, and then I have my wife and my two kids,
And all
and
of that
then
is really cool.
yeah. So, so basically, like, there's like any like, so like if I wanted, and so that was kind of like another reason why I started my YouTube channel. I was like, man, if I really like golf and I really want to keep playing it when I'm this busy in my life, like I better like find a way to like monetize it, or to like make something like real out of it, or else like I'm not really going to be able to say like, oh, let me just, because golf is like demanding time wise. When you're talking about a round of golf can take 5.5 hours, so it's like in a day. So it's like, and if you want to be good at golf, you're supposed to be doing it like 3 times a week. So it's like very. So I would say like just time. I would like more time than anything, but it's all just part of being a young father, and having a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old. So it's super exciting time in my life. Like I know that there's like these little like and sometimes big obstacles to get over and everything like that, and sometimes like you just want to like pull your hair out because you feel like you're going from one thing to the next, and you're going like, you're so busy. Like I remember my first month in college, some teacher came up to me and she was like, why do I see you running constantly? She's like, I always see you running from this class to that class and running from here to there. I was like, I was so frazzled. I was like, I don't know how, like, I had no idea how to schedule myself. And I feel like when I had my first son, I was like that for like a year. I was just constantly like I was late running from home to work, and then I was at work, and then I was late getting from work back to home, and then I was like trying to cram in like family time. Then I was trying to cram in maybe some like golf or like fitness time, and then I was trying to cram it, and then I was trying to like get to bed real quick, and I was like constantly frazzled. So and then now that I have two, I'm kind of back in that mode again. So and I know that it's just like going to be this. It's probably one of the best times in my life, just how exciting it is, watching the kids grow up and everything else like that.
Right.
Starting my YouTube channel, and I would say it's a struggle, but it's kind of like a struggle like they have in a movie, where
Yeah.
it's like kind of like an obstacle for somebody to get over, not really something that it's going to be like
Yeah. I mean,
you know
it's
keep me down.
it's a lot. I mean, man.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot. I mean, I'm the type to be reactionary, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
always running between one thing and another.
Hmm.
It's more because, oh, I forgot something, so now I have to run. Um,
Yeah.
but that's fantastic. And yeah, time management.
What about you? Tell me what you have going on right now.
So what?
So I know that you have your YouTube channel
Yes.
that's just starting.
Yeah, the YouTube channel is just starting. We've got a couple episodes, a couple episodes in the can, and
Hmm.
just trying to build up that reservoir. And what people are seeing right now is going to be up there.
Hmm.
Oh dear God. And
If anybody has watched this far, let me
yeah,
think of let me think of a funny word or something. All
yeah,
right. If anybody has watched this long, just write the words "golf nerd" in the comments below. And if somebody's watched for over an hour
yeah,
of this guy with not even very many
yes,
subscribers
absolutely.
talk about his golf channel and his personal life, I'd be very very
Yeah,
interested to see "golf nerd" written
golf
down there,
nerd,
and
just written straight up.
I'll know that you actually watched this long.
I know, I know. Yeah, and a little bit of consulting.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's really
Like social media consulting.
uh marketing. Yeah, and so marketing,
Oh, cool.
one type of social media. So that's kind of where it's been. Um, yeah, I mean
Cool.
I would totally delve into it, but I should do it on another time because I know
Yeah,
I
yeah.
promised only an hour, and I'm really heading past that. So
Cool. Cool.
I should let you go.
Well, thanks so much.
No, so thank you so much. Yeah, this is
Yeah, I'll just motivate people. If anybody's made it this far in the interview, then
then
you
they have an
definitely should be a
obligation to check out
subscriber
the
of
channel and
Be
subscribe.
Better Golf Show on YouTube.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I'll put that down in the comments.
All right.
Um,
Cool.
fantastic. And so thank you very much, and looking forward to the next stuff you put out.
All right. Cool. And I'll see you YouTube space again.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.